Beautiful Wednesday morning, the third day of the month of September. It is a Wednesday, so it is, as they call it, Ladies' Night. And right here on the show, we call it Women at the Forefront. We have a segment that is focused mainly on the women who are out here doing great things, women who are breaking the ceiling, women who are just showing the next generation of women that everything is possible as long as you put your mind and get to work on it. It will for sure come to fruition just as you want it to come to fruition. And that being said, we have a lady who's doing just that, who will be joining us later today, and her name is Abigail Zuena. Abigail Zuena is the director of Finsco Africa, and she'll be here to just talk to us about building to break the glass ceiling. And her building is all about real estate, so literally getting to build, of young women breaking barriers and making a difference. That is what we will be looking at right here today when it comes to women at the forefront. And Mike Megwe is here with me as well. Good morning, Mike. How's your day started off? My day is starting off well, and good morning to you too, Vivian, and whoever is watching KBC Channel 1. This is Good Morning Kenya, the gold standard of starting your morning. But I am intrigued, Vivian. Wednesday is, usually Wednesday night is Ladies' Night. Yeah. Now, with the advent of social media, we have Woman Crush Wednesday. Yes. I'm tempted to ask, because away from all this, you pay attention to the World Men's Day is the same day as World Toilet Day. Really? Really? What does that have to say? What is that saying about who designated that? Who designated that day to men, and at the same time World Toilet Day? Kuna mtu anafaa kujibu swali. Whoever decided that they should run concurrently has questions to answer. But I mean, on Monday is usually Man Crush Monday, so okay, Man Crush Monday. There's a day of the week for you as well. So do we say on Monday? Do we say Men's Night? Is there something like Men's Night? Not really. Wow. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. But hapo kwa Men's Day and the World Toilet Day, it's a whole different conversation. But we were played. Yeah, we were played. Somebody played us. But welcome to the program. This is how we start your morning, and we are glad you are watching Good Morning Kenya. A lot has happened in the last 24 hours, and more interestingly, the cases against the two governors, that is the ex-governor of Bungoma, that is Wangamati Wycliffe, and also Hilary Barchok, who is the governor of Bomet. The cases commenced yesterday regarding the accusations that have been leveled against them, and we shall be keeping you informed on what is going, or the outcomes of that case. Today I want us to take a different perspective, and we look at the future of NGCDF. Do we reform it? Do we retain it? Or do we scrap it? Critics have said that NGCDF is in a way going against devolution. MPs feel that it has helped people at the grassroots level. Others are calling for a total overhaul or a rethink into how this NGCDF is going to be. Remember that the High Court had ruled that the NGCDF will stop ceasing by 30th June of 2026 at the stroke of midnight. So what is the future of NGCDF? That is a conversation that I will be taking together with Kevin Osido, who is the Executive Director, County Governance Watch, and Professor Joseph Nzioki, who is a leadership and governance expert. Also Patrick Musili Bangula, who is a governance expert and chairperson of Kenya Water Institute. That is a conversation that will be coming to you immediately. This is the first conversation we'll be having. And also I'll be having yet another conversation with a gentleman called Peter Kihara. We are going to talk about e-mobility. This is mostly matters to do with climate change, and that conversation will be coming to you right here on Good Morning Kenya. But before I even take you to, we do a newspaper review, I want us to have the quote for today. Let's have the quote for today. And today we are going to have a quote by Zig Ziglar. What you get by achieving your goal is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. That is Zig Ziglar. That is something you need to ponder to as you start your morning. Let's now take a look at what is making headlines in our local dailies. I will start with the Star newspaper. This is what is captured on the front page of the Star newspaper. Youth vote. Rivals gear up for fight over Gen Z voters. That story is told on page 6. 6 million voters expected to tilt the equation in 2027 election. Read that story on page 6 of the Star newspaper. How staff salaries are draining varsity coffers. That story is told on page 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper, and there's a tabulation on the front page of how this distribution looks like, and you can read that in detail on page 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja apologizes to MCAs as Ruto, Raila come to his rescue. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has 1 month to mend fences with MCAs or once again face their wrath. This was the resolution of a high-stakes parallel meeting led by President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga that rescued the countables from impeachment. Read that story on page 2 of the Star newspaper. Hurdle for reform as governors place demands on UHC, that is universal health coverage. Story is told in detail on page 8 of the Star newspaper. Yet one more story that is captured on the front page of the Star newspaper is that corruption charges. A former governor, Wangamati, freed on 1.5 million bail and Barchok out on 5 million bail. That story is told on page 9 of the Star newspaper. Vivian?
All right, with me is a copy of the Daily Nation, and on the top page we have why Ruto Raila saved Sakaja. That is what is on the front page of the Daily Nation, and a worry about disruptive poll campaigns in the capital city if governor and deputy are ousted. And then there's also one of the reasons why, according to the Daily Nation, they are saving Sakaja, fear of a showdown with a former DP Rigathi Gachagua in by-election and impact on 2027, concerns broad-based government critics exploiting ouster plot to derail Unity Pact. So that story has been fleshed out on page 4 of the Daily Nation. That is why Ruto Raila saved Sakaja. On the front page, we also have governors set up resistance against executive decrees. We also have puzzle of ghost schools, learners and lost billions. Then we have a story here. After 45 billion shillings NTSA deal, tycoons eye sugar trade. Businessmen Farid Abdul Razak Sheikh and Jabir Abdul Nasir, who are eyeing a 45 billion smart driving license tender, have made an aggressive entry into the sugar industry. So those are some of the stories that have been captured on the top page of the Daily Nation. Going into the pages of the same newspaper, we have bittersweet promotion of elderly tutors transferred far from families. Now, hundreds of teachers promoted after years of waiting are stunned to learn they have been transferred far from their stations, some with just months to retirement. They are among 23,000 promoted by the Teacher Service Commission in May, securing higher job grades and enhanced pay. Now, the teachers finally received their letters on Monday, only to realize they have been posted to regions they consider far-flung. That story is on page 3. Still on matters education, KBC meets AI. How teachers are using ChatGPT in the classrooms. Now, with the launch of the competency-based education, CBE, teachers were advised to shift from rote learning to nurturing critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity. Now, in crowded classrooms with limited resources and piles of assignments waiting to be marked, however, with piles of assignments waiting to be marked, however, they often felt out of reach. It often felt out of reach. Another story right here, we have free learning, billions lost in ghost schools. So on page 2 and page 3 of the Daily Nation is Matters Education. You can get yourself a copy of the Daily Nation and get into that. Now on page 4, that's the story that I had mentioned on the top page. Why Ruto Raila saved Sakaja. It has been highlighted right there. How Sakaja removal plan was scuttled. Several meetings held by Mr. Raila Odinga and one by the president put paid to the ouster plan. That's also right there on page 5 of the Daily Nation. County bosses step up resistance to executive decrees. And then there's that story of Sugar and the tycoons who are looking into the 45 billion Kenyan shillings. One more story right here. MPs now say Kanja must face public over police reforms. MPs have dismissed a request by Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja to be heard in camera over disputes with the National Police Service Commission. Instead, they issued fresh summons for Mr. Kanja, accusing him of frustrating reforms. That's a story that is on page 10 of the Daily Nation. Mike, don't know what else you have right there.
Yeah, I have a copy of the Standard, and this is what is being reported on the front page of the Standard. Stop this mess. Jubilant fighters boast of seizing farms in Mandera and even thank Kenya for quote-unquote warm welcome as citizens flee their homes and government maintains an ominous silence. This is no isolated incident. From classrooms in Mandera turned into barracks to fishermen gunned down on Lake Turkana, Kenyans are left to bury their dead and abandon their homes as the officials looks away. The president is keen on politics. The CDF is missing in action, while the Defense Cabinet Secretary is only seen on the lawns of State House during cabinet meetings. That story is told on page 4 and 5 of the Standard newspaper. A look at the sports. Why playing at Kasarani will be magical for Kenya. Kenya, Gambia set for crucial 2026 World Cup qualifiers. The two teams have met once in the 3 draw last match. Harambee Stars captain Michael Olunga believes playing at home will give Kenya a big lift as they prepare to face Gambia in a crucial 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier at Kasarani Stadium on Friday from 4 p.m. That is a match that is expected. Actually, yesterday I was checking around and the tickets for the match have been sold out.
Oh, already?
I was trying to access one.
Mm-hmm. Shock on you.
Yeah, shock on me. It was already sold out. McCarthy crowned coach of the month. Harambee Stars head coach, that is Benny McCarthy, has been named the Betika coach of the month for August, becoming the third foreign tactician to win the award. The South African legend follows his compatriot Carlos Katiwa of Kabras Sugar RFC, who won in April, and Burundi's Etienne Dairagije of the Kenya Police FC, who scooped the June accolade. But Vivian, you have to give it to McCarthy, away from the motivation that Harambee Stars received.
Yeah.
You have to admit that they have changed the way they play their matches. Absolutely. Because not many Kenyans were, some people, if I may put it that way, did not really expect Harambee Stars to do much at Chan, but they did.
We have to give him to him,
yes.
For sure. He planned the games very, very well. I mean, he knows his squad, and he was putting the right people at the right time in the pitch, to get to play. So, I mean, we have to give it to him for sure, 100%. He's doing an amazing job with a team.
And of course, we wish Harambee Stars all the best in their match against the Gambia on Friday. Let's take a very short break. We'll be right back to continue with our first conversation about the national government's constituencies development fund. Do we retain it, scrap it, or rethink about it? Stay with us.